Hello, welcome to this channel if you're new, welcome back if you're not, and welcome to a new reading vlog. I'm getting butterflies while reading this. Am I right? Probably not. I would never be caught doing the things that she did. You, in fact, judge books based off their covers, girl. Keep it together. But what would I know, because I've never solved a mystery before. There have been a bunch of new releases in the month of January that I've been meaning to read, so I thought since I am in a book slump, why not read it with you guys? So welcome to this reading new releases for a week video. I've actually already selected the books I'm going to be reading this week and I'll pop it on here. Hopefully I'll be able to get to all of them, but I'm actually going to start off with Lynn Painter's book. This is my first ever Lynn Painter book and it's called Made for Each Other. The premise seemed very interesting, so I'm super excited to get into it. Right now someone is staring at me and I'm getting very awkward. For those of you who don't know what Made for Each Other is about, it follows Abby, who is a professional cleaner, and one of her clients is a multimillionaire. Now Abby, being a part-time student with multiple jobs, she's running into a bit of an issue when I think her apartment faces this big infestation. So now she is homeless, but luckily enough, her millionaire client that she usually cleans, he's out of town. So what does she do? She goes and she stays at his house, which is absolutely crazy, by the way. She thinks because he's out of town, she'll be safe, but no, she runs into his parents and they seem to think that she is not the maid, but his girlfriend. This seems like a really fun book. I think it's going to get me out of my slump, so I'm very excited to read it. Hello, it is the next day. I'm currently on chapter 7, which is 17% through the book. This book is actually really fast paced and I don't think it's a super long book either, which is perfect to get me out of the reading slump. I am at the part right now where they're already fake dating, so they kind of moved into this whole deal rather quickly. They're at this cocktail party and you know what I love when it comes to a fake dating trope is when they are doing the fake dating things, like a kiss on the cheek, hand holding, stuff like that. And then of course one will always get butterflies. Like I'm getting butterflies while reading this. As for the characters though, Declan, he's the male main character in this story and you get his point of view too. He is this very stern and ambitious millionaire. He's the EVP at this company and he just wants to climb the ladder. And the female main character, her name is Abby. She is so bold and fun and playful and I don't know how to describe her, but I just love their energy and I love their conversations back and forth because of course right now he thinks that she is a big felon, which technically she is because she just squatted at his house. But I just love their banter. I don't know, I think it's so much fun. I just think that their personalities, because they're complete opposites, I just think that in a way they complement each other despite being complete opposites. I have a feeling that I'm actually going to finish this book rather quickly, so I am very excited for that. But also considering the fact that they already made the fake dating pact that they have, and they're also at the anticipated event that they talked about at the beginning of the book, I'm wondering what's going to be in the rest of the story, because I don't think that they're going to be at this cocktail party forever. But I do look forward to reading the rest of this, and obviously I'll keep you guys updated. Hello, it is Mia again. There was something I forgot to mention earlier that I wanted to mention now, and it is that Abby's personality, although it is very fun and playful and very bold, sometimes I feel like she takes it a smidgen too far, especially considering what's at stake. Because as a reminder, Declan and Abby, they're still at this cocktail party, and this cocktail party is very important to Declan. There's a lot of shareholders here that he's trying to impress. And don't get me wrong, Abby's very charming, but I feel like some of the lies that she tells is outrageous. For example, she's telling Declan's mom about how Declan would send her bouquets of roses and handwritten poems to her hotel when she works in Denver, which, wow, that sounds so romantic, very, very cute. But then she follows it up with, yeah, and Declan also writes me very naughty and very spicy poems. That is crazy. That is a crazy thing to say to Declan's mother and Declan's mother's friend. And she keeps going about this the entire night with a bunch of shareholders there. Like if I was Declan, I'd be like pulling her aside. I'd be like, girl, keep it together. But what I really like though is that Declan seems to be a good sport about it, even though he, according to Abby, has murder in his eyes. I'm excited to keep reading this. I'm currently at the 21% mark. I'm at the 38% mark. It is the jewelry scene and I'm getting really giddy while reading this, and then I have to remind myself that they only knew each other for like what, 2 maybe 3 days or something. No, wait, yeah, like 2 or 3 days, but still, like, I'm getting so giddy that my eyes are watering. This is so bad. Hello and happy Wednesday. I apologize for the horrendous angle. You guys are balanced very interestingly on my laptop, but I wanted to give you guys an update. I'm currently 85% through this book. Yes, 85%, because this book has been so enjoyable that I've been zooming past it. Now, I just finished work for the day. It is Wednesday. Did I just say that? I don't remember. I just woke up from a huge nap, so hence the very messy hair that will not cooperate with me. I have a few thoughts on this. I'm not going to say any spoilers because I'm going to have a dedicated spoiler section at the end, but this book, all I will say is Roman at Benny's, the investment company, and Declan in the Notebook. Things are piling up in this last 15% and I cannot believe it. Hello, it is me again. Guess who finished Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. You know what? I think I did predict that I would finish this book today. This book is so fast paced. It was very enjoyable for me. Now I'm going to keep all of my thoughts and reviews for the end of the video. Also at the end of the video, I'm going to include a little bit of a spoiler section so we could discuss spoilers together. But with that being over, I thought we could talk about the next book that I'm going to read. Let me go grab it. Behold this book right here. Now, if you watch one of my previous writing videos or you happen to watch it, I talked about how I bought this book at a very cute bookstore and I was immediately intrigued because, well, one, the cover is super pretty, the pages are pink, and also this book combines one of my two favorite elements, phoenixes and Formula One racing. Now I quickly read this here and essentially follows Kel and her phoenix. They're in this phoenix racing competition and then she suddenly gets a new rival. There's a lot of tension on and off the tracks with this new rival, and on top of that, Kel, the main character, accepts this job from this tech Mongol who is very interested in her phoenix. And of course a lot of conspiracies happen from there. That's a really bad description that I just gave you, even though I just read the inside of this book. I'll do a better job later when I pick it up and actually start reading it, but just know that I am very, very excited to dive into this book because after a good romance, I always dive into a fantasy. I feel like a romance when I'm in a slump quickly gets me out of one, but then a fantasy book keeps me in my writing groove. Did I say writing? I meant reading. Guys, it's actually really late. It is like 11 o'clock, so excuse my poorly functioning brain. Have you guys ever read a book and just from the first chapter alone you know that you're going to fall in love with it? Because this is how I feel about A Flame and Fury by Michaela Bridge. I'm only about 6 chapters in and I have a feeling that this is going to be one of my favorite books of the year. Right when you start off the book, we're in the middle of a lot of action, which is phoenix racing. So Kel, she is actually the phoenix tamer of this group. So she belongs to the CAPR, which is the Sandorian Association of Phoenix Racing. I'm telling you, if you guys love like Formula One racing or any type of racing, you're gonna like this book. So she is the tamer, but she's a part of the Howlers team, which has a bunch of other people too. Like you have the tamer, aka Kel, you have the rider, aka the racer who's sitting on top of the phoenix, you have like a mitigator, you have a strategist, you have the technician who does all the gears. And so Kel, she is the tamer of Savita, who is their team's phoenix. Right when the book starts, you're in the middle of a race, you're watching as she watches her phoenix race around. I'm going to get ready while I talk about this book. I also found the audiobook version of this, so I'm definitely going to be listening to that whenever I get the chance. I don't want to compare. I do not like comparing books a lot, or at least in the sense that I'm about to do, but if you are a fan of Fourth Wing, I think you're going to like this book. Now, I don't think this is like as high stakes as Fourth Wing because I know in Fourth Wing there's a whole war going on, but what I really like about this is how, you know, in Fourth Wings there are different breeds of dragons, there are different breeds of phoenixes in here, and there's a little glossary at the beginning too that tells you all about the phoenixes, and I just overall think that this is such a cool concept. Now, I haven't gotten to the actual plot yet because I know there's a deeper thing that goes on other than just the racing, but we've already established all the characters, we've established where this book takes place, we've also established the rivalry between Kel and Warren Cooper, also known as Coop, and I really enjoy their personality because Kel is very careful, whereas Warren Cooper, or I guess I'll just call him Coop for now because that's how he's referenced in the book, Coop is very fun and reckless. And so far I love all of the phoenix and the magic that's described in here and how different islands or continents in this world have different animals. So there's serpents, there's little sprites, there's honestly so many fun things. What I think this book is underrated. Hello Hello, happy Friday. I'm about, I want to say 25% through the book. I'm currently on chapter 16. Yesterday I didn't read as much as I wanted to, and this is no fault of the book. It's entirely my own. It's just because I got busy. So I'm a little bit behind on where I want to be, but that is no worries. I have a feeling that I'm going to read a lot of this today. There's a character in here and his name is Beckon, B-E-K-N, and this entire time, I don't know why, like I'd read it and then suddenly my brain translates it to Beckett. There's no T in there. I don't know where I'm getting that. But I'm at the point where they just made it to Cristo Industries and the city, and they're exploring the new workplace and the aviary. And overall, I think that this is a really cool concept. I keep saying this and I probably sound like a broken record, but I will stand on that statement. Also, what I find really interesting is this whole AB disease. It stands for something else. I totally forgot what it means, but there's this disease in here known as the AB disease. Two of the characters, Beckon and Coop, their mother passed away from this mysterious disease. It is a very interesting disease that has no cure at the moment. I have a feeling, and this is just my prediction, we'll see if I'm right, because if we've seen my history, we all know that I suck when it comes to predictions. But I have a prediction that this AB disease is going to be somehow linked to the Phoenixes, and the part that the Howlers, the racing team, is playing right now, I think they're going to play a bigger part in finding this whole AB cure. Am I right? Probably not, but we'll see. I'm going to continue reading. Right now, Coop is getting used to Sav, the Phoenix, which he's strangely really good at. So that's making Kel a little jealous because Kel has been taming Savita her entire life. The fact that Cooper can just come in here and just do whatever he wants and suddenly the Phoenix likes him too, like, are you kidding me? I would also get upset. I'd stopped filming the clip and I wasn't even done talking, but I also forgot to mention that I did in fact take off the sleeve of it. It is right here. It is so beautiful, but I did not want to ruin it. Actually, the cover is what attracted me to the book in the first place because I do in fact judge books based off their covers. One thing I also forgot to mention is that this book is actually divided into parts, so I just reached part 2. And every time there is a new part, there's this little, how would I put it? It looks like this. There's like a little, I guess you could say, history lesson or some more background on this side, and I think it's really cool because those are my favorite things to read. I know some people who just skip over it, but I'm not one of those people. I love reading those things because I feel like it adds some more tidbits and background information to the story, just like, and I hate to compare again, but just like Fourth Wing, you know, at the very top they always have a little epigraph, and I love reading it because it adds more background. Also, by the way, when I mean comparing, I don't mean it in a negative light or anything like that. I just try to view books as individual as possible, and I try not to just constantly compare books. I'm just doing it as an example, but not because I don't know, I'm doing it for other purposes. It is a lot later into the nighttime right now, and this book has occupied so much of my evening. I am currently 42% done with this. And if I had to give Michaela Bridge, the author of this book, one award, that award would be dedicated to the fact that she is able to inject so much adrenaline into her writing, especially when it comes to the racing. Because I just read a racing scene, and this is the first race that the Howlers are doing with Cristo Industries backing them up. Heart is actually pumping. There was so much action, there was so much thrill. On top of that, I absolutely loved how the team interacted with one another. I'm also starting to see like tiny little tropes in here. So like I'm seeing the found family trope. And then on top of that, so Coop and Kel, again, they are the tamer and the rider, so they have to work very closely with one another because they interact with the Phoenix the most. They have a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a fake dating publicity stunt going on, which makes this all the better because they hate each other. I will say though that the one thing that I'm wishing is that we got a little bit more of the other teams in here, because we only see the Howlers, who is Kel's team, but we don't see a lot of the other teams in this book. But maybe they'll be introduced later. I mean, I still have a lot more of the book to go, but I hope to see more of the other team. Hello and happy Saturday. Sorry, you're at a very awkward angle and the lighting's very awkward. Today has just been a very busy day. It's already 6 p.m. and I have not touched my book at all. I don't know if I'm going to touch my book today. If I'm being completely honest, I'm very tired, so I think I'm just gonna chill for the rest of the day. We'll see if I read. I may or may not though extend this reading vlog by a day because I didn't read at all today. I just reached part 4 and I hit a little bit of a plot twist, and guys, I had to put the book down and stare at the wall for a hot second because I thought I was literally going insane, and now this all makes sense, but I cannot believe that this just happened. Hello and happy Monday, guys. We are at the home stretch. I have about 5% left of this book and I have been going through it. This has been such a wild ride, and yes, pun intended, because this book is about Phoenix racing and Phoenix riding. This book has made me experience so many emotions. I think since I last picked up the camera, I was shocked, and then suddenly I became really giddy, and then I was betrayed, and then I was shocked again, and then I was confused, and then I felt like really hurt. A little bit of a recap. I did not read at all Saturday, but I read a lot Sunday and I read a lot today. I just didn't pick up the camera to film my reactions because I was just so lost and focused in this book. But with me being 95% done with this and with 5% left, I wanted to record some of my thoughts and reactions before I finished the book. There were certain characters in here that I was always very suspicious and wary of, and you know what? I'll say that I had a right to be suspicious and wary of them. I feel like I read enough fantasy books or books in general to know certain signs. So you know when authors, they write and they leave certain breadcrumbs or little foreshadowings, or they bring something up and then you don't hear about it again. For me, because I know all this, I will never ever forget things. Like, I always catalog certain details in the back of my mind. So I knew that certain things would be brought up again. So now that I've reached the 95% point, which is, you know, well over the majority of the book, things are slotting in place and it makes so much more sense now. Where I'm currently at in the book, because I only have 5% left, like there's only so much that could happen in 5%. I'm actually worried about one specific character in here, and I won't say who because I don't want to spoil anything. Like, I don't really know how much can change in 5% of the book. So now it's making me really worried because I kind of like this character a lot. It is many hours later. I'm currently back at home and back in my pajamas, and guess what? I finished this book. Guys, the last 5% of this book was so action-packed and so thrilling, I could not put it down. In fact, it was so exciting that my eyes kept skipping over the paragraphs and then suddenly moving to the very last line. I kept spoiling things for myself, so I actually had to put my hand on the page and cover it up so that I wouldn't skip around. That is how excited I was to read this book. The ending I was half expecting, half not, but the epilogue is everything to me. I cannot wait to give my review of this book, but I'm gonna keep that for the end of the video. Now, as I mentioned, it is currently Monday, and although this technically wraps up the whole week in the video, since I did not read Saturday, I'm actually going to push it back a day, so I'm gonna give myself Tuesday to also read. And with that, I thought I would introduce to you the next book that I hopefully will read and finish by tomorrow. We're gonna switch up the genres a little bit. This is going to be a mystery book by Holly Jackson. It is called Not Dead Yet, and it follows Jet, a 27-year-old daughter to a millionaire, and on Halloween night, she gets attacked by someone and she suffers a very catastrophic head injury. Doctors say she has about a week to live until the injury completely takes over. So with those 7 days, she is going to try to figure out who tried to murder her. I'm excited for this book because I have not read a mystery in a very long time, and I feel like with it being the end of August, this mystery book is a perfect introduction for the fall time. I'm going to start it tonight, and fingers crossed I will finish it by tomorrow. Good morning, happy Tuesday. It is currently 8 a.m, bright and early, and today I'm going to spend my time reading Not Quite Dead Yet. Well, when I'm not working, of course. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it today. I read about 30% last night. Well, I half read it, half listened to it on the Spotify audiobook. So far we've established the setting, the main character, her surrounding characters, and then of course potential suspects as well. And we also already established what happened in the accident, and she had already made her decision that she wants to live for 7 days even if the brain aneurysm takes over, because she wants to use those 7 days to find her murderer. There's something about Jet's dark humor and sarcasm that makes this very enjoyable to read because I just think that she's such a fun character. And of course, I already have some of my fingers pointed at certain people. I have my fingers pointed at Sophia and Lou, but I don't know if that's right, so that's why I'm just mentioning out loud. I don't think that's a spoiler at all. Truth be told, I am the worst mystery solver, so we'll see if I even get this correct. As for favorite characters though, Jet is my favorite character, and she is the main point of view in this book as well. But on top of that, I love Billy, but I am a little bit suspicious because, I don't know, I just am suspicious of anybody who gets close to the main character, because what if they're tricking her? I think I'm going to read a little bit before I clock in for work, and then the next time I'll probably read is maybe my lunch break. They've been accusing this one person this entire time, but I don't believe it for a second, like not even a second, that this is the culprit behind her murder, because I don't know, like I see that there could be potential motives, but just doesn't seem like it's him, and it's just way too easy, you know? I've reached the 63% mark, and guys, someone is definitely out to get Jet, because they probably found out that she's still alive and she chose to live for like that 7 days, and they're like, you know what, I gotta finish the job a little quicker. So they went and set a fire? That is crazy. I have my suspicions though, because I don't think it was an accident. It is a few hours after work, and I'm at the 75% mark right now, and I just have to say, Billy and Jet, they are my absolute favorite. Also, on a side note though, every single time Jet does one of these confrontations, all I'm thinking to myself is, why do you not have your phone on you? Like, why are you not recording an audio? Like, sneak it into your pocket, record something, because this could be used as evidence, maybe, unless you are coercing them, I think, or blackmailing them. Like, you could get a confession maybe, and you could use this as evidence. But every single time she does that, or she confronts somebody, she never does that. And I'm just like, man, like, please think. Like, I feel like that would be such a helpful tool. But what would I know? Because I've never solved a mystery before. I don't know if you guys can see me right now. I'm reading the letters that Jet wrote, and can you guys see my eyes are kind of watering? It has been a couple of days. I've marinated with my thoughts, so welcome to the reviews and spoilers section of this video. My reviews will not contain any spoilers. The spoilers will have its own dedicated section at the end of the video, but I will include timestamps here so you can follow along or view certain reviews or view certain spoilers or avoid them altogether if you don't want to see them. And of course, I feel like I don't have to do this disclaimer, but I'm just going to do it anyway. These book reviews and opinions are just my own opinions. You can agree with them, you can disagree with them, that is totally okay, but everything that I'm about to say, oh, my strap just fell. Everything that I'm about to say is just my own opinion. I don't know why my body always tans, but my face does not, and I look like I'm 5 different shades. But anyways, I've written all of my notes down here. We're gonna start off with the reviews, and I'm going to go in order of the books that I've read. So we're gonna start off with Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. This is my first ever Lynn Painter book, and I'm honestly going to consider it a success. I'm going to include a screenshot of the description here so I don't have to repeat myself. There's many things that I love about this book. I love how it was so fast-paced. I love the writing, and I love the character personalities, and of course I love the fake dating trope. Fake dating trope was done very well in this book in my opinion, and I loved Abby's bubbly personality and Declan's playful personality. Ooh, excuse me, I don't know why I'm stuttering all of a sudden. Though, I will say my only thing about that is that sometimes, more so Abby than Declan, I felt as though their personalities it was a little cringy, or I don't know how I would explain it, but sometimes Abby would act on certain things and I'd really be like, is this the right moment to be doing this? But honestly, I think it comes down to just a difference in personality, because personally I would never be caught doing the things that she did. But I wouldn't say any character was insufferable, because I would not be able to handle an insufferable character. I really did enjoy this book. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the fast plot, I enjoyed the fake dating, and I did enjoy Abby and Declan a lot. This book, because it was so fast paced, definitely leaned more on insta love and insta lust, and I think it's definitely because this is a shorter book. However, I am going to brush past the fact that it is insta love and insta lust only because I love the back and forth between Declan and between Abby. I liked how each character kind of played around with one another, and Declan wasn't just some normal brooding millionaire. Now we're gonna wrap this up with the 3 R's. Would I recommend this book? Yes, I would definitely recommend this book, especially to anybody who enjoys the fake dating trope and the fast pace, and honestly anybody who wants a book that doesn't have really explicit spice scenes in there. Do I regret reading this? Not at all. I really enjoyed this book. Would I reread this book? The answer is no. Only because I feel like this is one of those books where it's a one and done. Like, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing at all. I just think that I've gotten everything that I needed to get from this book from my first read. I have terrible posture, I realized, so I'm readjusting myself, but that is all the thoughts I had for Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. Now we're gonna move over to A Flame and Fury by Michaela Bridge. Now I have been waiting to talk about this one. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the fast pace of this book. I enjoyed the action of this book. All of the chapters kept me hooked. I really enjoyed the writing in this as well. And perhaps I am biased because I do love Formula One racing, but I loved the concept of Phoenix racing in this book. I love how unique the races were and how the author put so much thought into these races. Like, each terrain or each race was on a different terrain. There were different obstacles, there were different challenges, and there were different strategies that the Howlers, the team, had to use to go about this race. And if you love a found family trope and even a fake dating dating, like PR relationship type of trope, you are going to enjoy this book a lot. But I do only have two, I'm not going to call them complaints, I'm going to call them observations. I think that Michaela Bridge, the author of this book, did such an amazing job with the platonic development of their relationship. At the beginning of this book, this team is very mismatched. They don't really get along with each other and they're practically strangers. But over time, you see them grow, you see them develop, and you see them form that found family trope that I was talking about. And I think that the way that Michaela Bridge wrote the platonic relationship in this was so well done. The romantic relationship, though, on the other hand, I feel like that's a different story. The romantic relationships in this, because there were more than one by the way, was not poorly written at all. My only observation about it is that it was a little bit, I guess you could say, instant. One chapter they hated each other, they were so annoyed with one another, and then suddenly the next chapter they were in love with one another and couldn't imagine a life without the other person. So I thought that was very like sudden. My second observation about this is that I really do wish that this book was dual POV. Perhaps it's me, I am a sucker for dual POV books, but I feel like adding in a second point of view would have definitely made this story, I don't know, like it would have added another element to it, especially if it was Coop's point of view, because not only would you be able to see what he would be doing when Kel wasn't there, but you'd be able to get the point of view of when he's racing. You get to see him, I guess, fall in love with Kel. So many different things I think would have been added if Coop's point of view was added in here, but I'm not saying that Kel's point of view, who's the main character in here, was boring at all. She was not boring at all. I'm just saying that adding in a second point of view would have been like a little more interesting. Actually, I have another observation, which is that I feel like the quote-unquote villain in the story, very, very predictable. Things always tie together, and I feel like I always had some like feelers out there for certain characters, and so I don't know, I just felt like it was kind of predictable in my opinion. Actually, I lied. One more observation. Throughout the entirety of this book, we are focused on the Howlers. That is Kel's main team in the CAPR, and we're just focusing on that team alone. But when you are racing, there are about like 20, 30 other Phoenixes and other teams out there. I really do wish that we were able to see a lot more of those other teams. Like even the smallest glimpse of them, I would have been satisfied. Like we didn't need full-on relationships with those other teams, but even like, I don't know, the other team walks by and they smack talk the Howlers, like I would have been satisfied with even just that. Now moving on to the 3 R's. Do I recommend this book? Heck to the yes, I recommend this book. As I said, I really enjoyed this book. Do I regret this book? Not at all. I do not regret reading this at all, and I cannot wait for the second book to come out. And then last but not least, would I reread this book? Yes, I would. I'd probably reread this book though maybe before the second book comes out. I don't see myself rereading it anytime soon because it's just still fresh in my mind, but I definitely see myself rereading this in the future. That's my review for A Flame and Fury. Now we're gonna move on to Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson's my second Holly Jackson book, the first one being A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Let me tell you, I love the mystery in this, and I love Jet's point of view. She was a very enjoyable narrator and point of view throughout this entire book. I feel like this is definitely one of those stories where so many people were in the wrong that it was hard to guess the culprit. Like I don't think I guessed the murderer until about 75-80% of the book, and maybe that's just my poor mystery solving skills, I don't know, but I feel like just so many people were in the wrong where you couldn't really guess it right off the bat. This is also one of those stories where I could not put it down, and I think it's due to the fact that Jet had a very limited time frame because she only had 7 days to live. So because she only had 7 days to live, each chapter was very impactful. Like she did a lot within those chapters. There was never a single chapter that was dull. There was never a single chapter where she was just sitting around being idle, and because of that, I just thought that it was very not only fast-paced, but it was very, very addicting to read. So I appreciate the fast pacing in this book, but I also appreciate the relationship along the way. I appreciate the relationships that she made, the relationships that she mended, the relationships that she broke. She did some real impact in this book. My only thing was the last chapter. I feel like this is the case for many mystery books, but it's always the last chapter where they solve everything and then everything is just concluded and it's done. I feel like, or I guess specifically in this book, it was almost rushed in a way. I think I'm one of those readers who need a lot more closure when it comes to mystery books, and I feel like just everything being solved and confronted in the very last chapter just wasn't enough for me. Like I just wish we spent a little more time like figuring things out a little bit. Now overall, I do recommend this book. I really enjoyed the mystery in this. I already told my friends to go ahead and read this, and I do not regret reading this at all. However, I wish I did read this later in the fall. I feel like this book is a perfect fall time read, somewhere in October, November time frame, because this is where the book takes place. But I don't regret reading it. I just wish that maybe I pushed it a little later, but you know what? I enjoyed this book. And then last but not least, would I reread this? Yes, I would actually reread this book farther down the line, because I feel like it would have been so cool to kind of see all the foreshadowing pieces come together now that I know who was the murderer. But overall, that is my review for Not Quite Dead Yet, and those are also all of my reviews for the books that I read this past week. With that being done, we're going to move over to the spoiler section of this video. If you don't want to see any of the spoilers for this video, I'll include a timestamp right here for the end of the video, and you could just skip there instead. Okay guys, welcome to the spoiler section of this video, aka my favorite section because I love spoilers. We're gonna go in the order that I read these books. So we're gonna start off with the spoilers for Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. Now truthfully, I do not have a lot of spoilers for this book, but I do have one outstanding question, which is that did they ever clear up the whole fake dating thing? Like, did they ever clear up that this is actually Abby Mariano or Abby Marino rather than Abby Green? Because this ending was quite abrupt, and then suddenly we move on to the epilogue, and the epilogue is them like getting engaged or married or something like that. Like, we never had a moment where they confronted the parents or something was revealed and they had to explain themselves like, yeah, this was a fake dating relationship. In most fake dating relationships that I've read, there's always some type of conflict or big reveal where people find out that the fake dating relationship was a fake dating relationship. But actually this didn't happen in the book, even though I thought that would happen, because when the grandma first was like, you know what, I've known you from somewhere, I thought that she was going to come back like at the 75% mark and expose her, but their relationship was not exposed at all. So now I'm wondering, like, did Declan go tell his parents like, hey, by the way, you know, I actually made her up and this is the entire story? Or did they just roll with it? Like, I don't know. That was the question that I had for this. Those are all the spoilers that I have for Made for Each Other. We're gonna move on to A Flame and Fury now, and the spoilers for that book. For A Flame and Fury, guys, Kanan, I think that's how you pronounce his name, being the villain, that was so predictable. Like, come on. We're gonna move on to the most important twist of them all. Kel having AB. If you have not read the book and you're just watching the spoilers for fun, AB is this disease. No one knows how people get it, and it's not contagious, but you cannot cure it at all. It's supposed to be really, really deadly. Even Coop and Beckon, their parent, died from AB. So safe to say, I was genuinely shocked when Kel found out that she had AB. Especially because, I don't know why, I think when I read a lot of books, especially young adult books, it's never the main character that has that disease, if that makes sense. It's always a side character that's affected, and then somehow that affects the main character in a way. For example, I'm going to take the Maze Runner, right? Like Thomas, he was never affected by that virus, but Newt, like he was affected, and of course that affects Thomas. Like, I was thinking it was something like that, like maybe Coop would have AB or Dira would have AB, but I was not expecting Kel, the main point of view, the main character in this book, to have the disease. So I will say that was a really fun twist in my opinion, and it really made me shut the book for a second and just like sit there and think. Coop and Kel, actually I don't really have any spoilers about them. They're just really, really cute together, so I really liked it. I love a good rivals to lovers. And then last but not least, I know there's going to be a second book because I saw it on Goodreads. However, if I didn't see on Goodreads, I would have thought that this book would have been a standalone, because just the book itself without the epilogue, like, it ends well, and then with the epilogue it adds more closure and still ends very well too. So now it's making me think, what is the second book going to be about? I don't think it's going to be a trilogy, because I don't know how this could possibly be stretched into a trilogy, but either way, I'm very much looking forward to the second book. Those are all of the spoilery thoughts that I had for A Flame and Fury, so let's move on to Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. Spoilers for this, I just want to start off by taking a moment of appreciation for Billy. Billy is such a sweetheart. Like, I could tear up just thinking about him, because he was such a sweetheart that he was willing to let Jet believe that he was her killer, just because in her dying moments he wanted her to feel accomplished, that she found her killer and that she just like accomplished something for the first time in her life. And that honestly, that kind of wrecked me a little bit, because he loved her so much. But you know what also wrecked me? The letters. Even the mom's letters and the Luke's letter, whom I despise, both of them, throughout the book, by the way. Their letters actually got to me a little bit, and I thought they were so sweet. And also, if you saw the writing on it, it's so funny because, you know, throughout the book, Dominant Arm suddenly goes limp. She has no feeling in it, so she had to write all of the letters with her left hand. And so when you look at the handwriting on these letters, like, you could definitely see that it was written with a non-dominant hand. But either way, the letters were so endearing. They were so emotional. I mean, like, you guys saw it in the clip too, like my eyes were tearing up. Now Jet actually dying at the end of the book left my jaw on the ground. And I don't even know why, because that was explicitly said throughout the book and even in the summary that she only has 7 days to live. But for some reason, some part of me believed that, I don't know, that she would have more time, and a delusional part of me believed that somehow she'd be cured. Or honestly, I just thought that she would have found her killer before she died. I feel like if she only had a few more hours, she definitely would have been able to solve it. But in Jet's dying moments, and even written in her letters as well, I guess you could say that she kind of realized that in her last 7 days, she wasn't destined to solve her murder and accomplish that, but she realizes that her actual accomplishment was that she was able to live her life unapologetically and without procrastination. And you know what? I really like that theme, because if you've read the book, you know that Jet's entire life she's been putting off a lot of things. She's been comparing herself to her older deceased sister, and her life has always been filled with things like, okay, I'm gonna do it later, I'm going to do it later. And of course now she's faced with a time crunch where she doesn't have a later. But those are all of my spoilery thoughts for Not Quite Dead Yet, and with that also concludes the spoilery section for all the books that I read this past week. To quickly sum it up, I really did enjoy all of the books that I read this week. Not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I did choose very good books. Now, all of my socials will be linked down below if you want to follow me. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, for supporting me, for clicking on this video. And with that, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!